walls came down when your love shone through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way. Jesus, there's freedom in your name. You break every chain, oh Lord.
All right, welcome to UCAN Studios. Our warrior of the week is Ernesto. Say good morning.
Good morning. I've never been called a warrior of the week. I like it. It's a heck of a title. I'm going to put that on my Seeking t-shirt.
Help us help you. All right, before we get to him, and this is your first time, please go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. If you know someone that's struggling, click on struggling. We got over 20 different partners in the community that help with food and clothes and baby formula and drug rehabilitation. If you're struggling with someone that's struggling with any kind of addiction, please go to ucanmichigan.com. Click on struggling, punch in your information, and someone will get with you within 24 hours. We are here. Help us help you. All right. So you are the head pastor of Flint City Church, and we had you on last year.
That's correct.
And it's flintcitychurch.com. All right, so if you guys want to pop on and take a look at the website, flintcitychurch.com, we always like people noticing the work. It doesn't feel like it's a lot of work, but man, you get on that website, it's some work, right? I'm
telling you, dude.
All right, so since last year, so just to catch people up, so we got your history and kind of where you came from and what you're doing, and worked for the river, and now you got your own place, and at the time you were looking for a building.
Yeah, we were essentially a homeless church for about 7 years.
A homeless church. That is actually kind of awesome.
I mean, we
because you work with the homeless, right?
Yeah, we do. Very much so.
That's what makes it fun. Sorry.
We were in 6 locations in 7 years. So I'm moving people all the time, and our people were very patient and understanding.
And I was fighting hard to find some spots, too.
I walked through a lot of buildings. It just wasn't, and it just didn't play, and that's okay. Things don't play sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it when I was driving in today. I'm like, what happened? And honestly, I think about it, it's a confluence of a few things. One, it's the favor of the Lord. 2, it's the friendship of his people. Because to be in a place like Flint, even though we're a smaller city, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work. That's your whole thing.
Yeah,
is to find these good people doing good work and let them meet one another. That's right. Because that's a lot of, what do you call that? There's a word for that, synergy, right?
Synergy, networking.
I'm saying that just if I know the right guy can open the right door at the right moment.
Yep.
And so we made friends with an organization down in Brighton, a church, and they had a heart to do some work up in Flint. So they started this work up in Flint town and on the east side, and they invested in a property, in a building, started doing some work, and the guy they partnered with felt called out of the city. He went back to where he was from down south, and so they had this property, and they're Brighton people. They're not Flintstones. Right. They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So the guy who left said, "I know a guy named Ernesto." Talked to him. So they call me, and they're like, "Hey, listen."
And when did this happen?
This happened like 2 years ago. So I get a call. And they want to talk to me. So I go and I said, listen, if you guys need me to like pulpit fill or send guys to help out once in a while, let me know what I can do to help you guys. Yeah. And they said, we want you to run this mission we're starting. Like, we have no one on the ground. Can you run it until we find a guy? And I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have a heart for the east side. I grew up on the east side of the city, the State Street, right there, Leith and Franklin. That's that's my stomping grounds. And so I drove around, prayed about it, and the Lord said, cool. Well, that's first test.
Yeah.
Next, call the wife.
Yeah.
If she says it's stupid, I'm walking,
Yeah.
If she's not with me, I'm walking away from it.
Right.
So I call up the wife. She's like, I think God's in it. So I call the deacons of the church. I'm like, okay, deacons, what do you think of me helping this thing? They're like, we're for it. So then I call like my board, like my elder board, and I'm like, what do you think? If I took a day or two a week and gave it to these guys, would you pay me left? Would you dock me? How much would you dock me for if I served? They said, we believe this is part of the mission.
Wow.
Do it. Now, I didn't know at the time. Like, when you say yes to things, that adds complexity to your life. Dude, listen, I didn't realize how stressed I was, but I was doing Flint City Church, and I was working on at East Side as well, East Side Community Church. I'm kind of doing both things. And the East Side is more outreach, man. It's like food pantry. It's all evangelism. It's picnics every week in the summer, meeting the neighbors.
Broke over there.
And dude, there was no services for a long time, no church services, until finally people are coming from the neighborhood saying, when are we going to have service? And I'm like,
I'm glad you brought that up.
I was like, I guess. So we started doing a 12 o'clock service. So I do certain Sunday.
So did you start your story? Well, what happened was.
So, dude, I'm working with a Brighton crew, and I'm working with Flint City. And it was weird. I didn't realize my life. The Flint City, we had disciples. We had some resources. We had passion and some gifting. On the East Side, we had a building, a neighborhood in need, an opportunity.
So you need to bring those two things.
I didn't even see it at first. It's a puzzle. It's literally like, I can't even, it's a plug in a socket. I didn't see it. And finally, the Brighton crew one day, and it's hard. Like, eventually, I'm preaching 3 times a Sunday. I'm preaching at Carriage Town Homeless Shelter in the mornings at 8 a.m., Flint City at 10, East Side at 12.
Right.
And I am.
I'll wear you down.
I'm worn.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving. Like, I have to leave places and drive to the next place.
Yeah.
And so I'm not able to sit down with people and talk afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of a ministry, not a big part of sitting with
the people.
That's what it is. It's just, it's sitting with people, listening, laughing, being a person. That's what most of our work is loving people. And I don't want to get anything else. I want to say something. I won't say anything. So the Brighton crew says, listen, we've been there for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
It's not exploding with growth.
Yeah.
So if you had a dream for this, what would it be? And I'm like, I don't know. So I went and they said, well, think about it. So I went and thought about it. And that's a question you got to be ready for. People might ask, like,
they want to know that you're leading in a direction.
Yes. And vision I'm bad at vision. I love loving people. And I love preaching Jesus. And that's about it.
You know what's crazy? I'm the exact opposite. Like, when you say it's impossible, I'm like, well, here's the edges.
Dude, you're a vision guy, dude.
And then when you get to that point, you're like, well, I need a detail guy. I'm like, bring me a blue shirt and tan pant guy. I need the blue shirt and tan pant guy to do the details. That stuff drives me crazy.
So I'm a soldier and a grunt. I will walk forever. But thinking about, like, if you ask me, what do you want in the next 5 years? It's blank to me. It's something I struggle with. So they say, I go and think about it for a good week, and I'm praying. And my mind's not wired that way, but I finally go, I come back to it and I said, listen, you asked me what my dream would be. It would be for you to give me this building.
My dream is for you to get out.
My dream is for you to get to stepping. No. I said, my dream is for you to give me this building. I would combine East Side and Flint City into one thing, and I would be in one place instead of 3.
How did they receive that?
Listen, I told them, I said, listen, you can shoot this thing dead on the ground.
You asked.
Like, you asked, I thought about it. This is what and I said to them, listen, at the whole time I'm with them, I said, listen, anytime you can give me the boot. If you got a guy from your denomination, your world, that can take it, I'm holding this because the Lord told me to go, but I don't own this at all. This is not mine. Yeah. I'm serving you.
Yeah.
And I try to hold it with open hands because I don't want to be a taker. I want to be a giver.
Right.
And it's called Cornerstone Presbyterian Church out of Brighton, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Those guys are kingdom people down there. They love Jesus, and they love being generous. Mm-hmm. And they said, and I didn't realize, like, them having to manage this thing from afar, it wasn't their favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, they have, it's a lot of resources on their part, a lot of dealing with bills and like alarms in the middle of the night. So
not over on the east side. It's crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you, I have guys there all the time messing around, but they sat there and I'm just waiting. And they're like, we think God is in this. They brought it to their board, and they said, we think this is awesome. And before I know it, the thing leaves the station, and now listen, merge into 2 organizations into one organization is tough to do.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was
personalities. Right?
I was the face of both. I was the lead of both. So I'm the constant, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
But it was still two very different cultures.
It's very helpful. Are you sure?
Listen, but even then, because this community was all East Siders, then Flint City is a different feel. There's some Burton people at Flint City. There's people from the College Cultural District. So the East
how
Side,
did that mesh?
Dude, East Side was afraid. Their fear was getting eaten. Like, this new crew's going to come in. They're bigger than we are. They're going to take over, and we're going to be forgotten.
And we don't matter, and we're just going to be tossed.
That was their, and that's a real fear.
Yeah.
Like, we're the smaller organization of the two. We're going to get swallowed.
Yeah.
The Flint City crew was afraid, well, the East Side crew's too wild for us. There's some wild folks at church on Sunday. There's some drunk folks on church on Sunday.
Yeah.
We have kids coming that are a little wild. How's it going to work?
Right.
We have some people, we have some real sinners that come. Like, and I know, I'm saying, you know, Christians can talk.
Yeah. Well, where else are they supposed to be?
Listen. But we had people coming on the East Side. We had, faithfully coming. We had women who worked the streets, would come on Sundays.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that story. It was so crazy.
Dude, and so people are well, my kids are going to see a woman dressed this way.
Yeah.
We have different people there. And some of these folks are like, what are we walking into? What is this new?
Yeah.
And
we got all these uppity people coming into our...
And not uppity, but just...
That's how they're going to feel it,
like,
though.
you have, like, moderate Flint, and then you've got kind of, like, East Side Flint.
Yeah.
And these two worlds come together.
Yeah. How'd it mix?
You know?
How long did it take to do that process, I guess? Better question.
I did 2 town hall meetings on the same day. Sunday after church at Flint City, then Sunday after church at East Side, then evening at Flint City.
Yeah.
And 2 very different presentations, because audience matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Know your audience.
So, and question and answer time. Because the thing about leading, some leaders, you know what leaders like to do? Let's be offensive. Let's just do it. Let's just say the hard things. Christian leaders love to play the God card. They love it.
Give me an example of what you're saying.
They're saying, no, I don't want to do this, but God says we have to.
Oh, I got
So you make it, there's no conversation, no debate. They can't ask any questions they ask.
Because God said.
It's a lack of faith.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a prophet, and none of those guys are either.
Yeah.
They talk that God stuff, and they almost use it to silence any.
It almost feels like their own agenda is being pushed
I'm
forward.
saying, listen.
Speaking on the behalf of God.
Painting the nursery blue is not from on high. That's not Moses coming down like, the Lord doth said.
Thou shalt have green carpet F.
That's right. The kind my wife happens to like. That's not.
And that we got an abundance of extra.
And my study looks nice now.
Right.
But, dude, people talk this way. And
right.
I don't, if a spiritual leader or pastor uses the God card to make changes, Patrick Lencioni once said that if people, like, if they can't chime in, they can't buy in.
Right.
If they can't be heard, it's hard for them to say, it's like, I want to feel like my voice matters in this journey.
Right.
So town hall, we had 2 town hall meetings, one each place, and we had some hard questions.
I bet.
And with town hall meeting, you're walking on a tightrope.
Right.
Because you're like, what are they going to say? And but I think you'd be willing as a leader to let people ask questions. Yeah. Especially for big changes like this.
Yeah. Before you get into these answers, we got to go to our first break. If this is your first time Spiritual Warfare Unit, please like, share, and subscribe. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Taking a quick break from our podcast, I wanted to let you know about our life application program that we have for churches and nonprofits in the area that are trying to find programming that they can use in case the corona shuts you down and you're not able to get in. You go to spiritualwarfareunit.com. You click on our episodes, and you can check out our programs for as little as $29.99 a month to make sure that we're still getting the word out to those people that need it. Now, back to the program. All right, welcome back to the Spiritual Warfare Unit at UCAN Studios. I'm here with Ernesto, and he was just finishing up this tightrope act he's about to watch. In a town meeting, just for those that don't know, is everybody gets in, sit down, and they get to pitch questions.
Yeah.
So you're trying to put 2 things together that you didn't see that fit, and in your defense, those things could easily be constructed as not things that would fit. And so how did it work? Like, what happened?
I had to take into account who are these people, who's the audience matters.
Yeah.
Like, who am I talking to? What are their concerns? I talked to some families to hear some of their initial concerns and kind of built my initial presentation off that.
You had a construct.
Here's the vision. Yeah. Here's why. Here's the why. What Simon Sinek always say, know your why.
Yeah.
The questions came, and they were hard ones, and we just were very open and honest. And we voted, and at both places, pretty much unanimously.
Wow.
The East Side, they were afraid of being eaten, but they were also excited to have a full house. Because it's a small group of people.
How many people does it hold? Like,
oh, dude, the place holds like 90 people. It's small.
Ooh, that is tiny.
And we were like 15. The 15 we had at East Side, though, are all like from 0 to Christian.
Right, I got
There's no transfer growth to the East Side.
That's not how anything works. One or the other.
This is like people who came to picnics, God got a hold of their life, and they started following Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it was a long investment, friendship, relationship that birthed relationship with Jesus Christ.
All right.
So in the Flint City, people were like, it's kind of rowdy on the East Side, but man, but a lot of people, to my surprise, were like, we want to give our lives to something.
Yeah.
And for years, we've never been able to do a lot of neighborhood ministry because we're always moving. We never want to do something too big and then leave that hole.
Right.
Having a building is having roots.
Right.
They're like, we can finally go somewhere and start loving our neighbors. And so both places said yes. A month later, we joined together, had a big celebration. And that's been about a year. And it has been, dude, again, I can't tell you, I didn't know how stressed I was, how tired I was. But having one service in one place, not driving place to place to place every Sunday, being able to be there before service and then after service sitting around. I'm the last guy to leave every Sunday. I love sitting on the stage, talking with people, laughing, and our people talk for like an hour after service. And I watch and smile because this is not just people that come and it's not just us sitting and watching.
Yeah.
There's people who have turned towards one another and are making friendships and relationships, which is what the church is supposed to be, a spiritual family.
Yeah.
Since we started, we had to go from one service to 2. And right now...
And that's actually one service less than you were doing.
I know. And it's the same building, so I've got to drive somewhere else.
Right.
I'm telling you, we are running more than they both used to. Like East Side and Flint City, the numbers together, we are running almost double what they used to be, even combined.
Wow.
The Lord is giving us great favor. We're not, like I said, a vision's a hard thing. I'm also not a big church growth guy. Like some guys do all these cool things, they get people in the door, bring a friend Sundays. I'm terrible at that stuff. I'm a terrible marketer. So all the things I can't do, you're good at, apparently. Marketing, vision.
I'm good at the outline. I get very bored. Like once things are running smooth, there's not a lot of problems.
You're out.
I'm like, somebody do this.
I built this house. I don't want to live in it.
Yeah, like,
Get out of
like
here.
you said it was impossible. Well, here's all your toys. Now I got to go build something else. And I love building things to get the construct to go. And then I get very bored. Like when everything's coming in, how's everything running like a Swiss watch? And it's, because there's nothing to do. Like I'm a great problem solver. But once you get to the point, there's like the problems are small. Like what color is the floor? I'm like, you need a floor person because I don't care.
Understood.
No, you have to care. You have to know I'm like, I don't. And I need a blue shirt and tan pant guy to get there. And hopefully I can help you with something, anything, because I love everything that you're doing. So while you're doing all of this, which that was not simple, and how long do you think that process took?
2 years of running of being in both places.
All right.
I had no idea how tired I was. My wife saw it. Some friends saw it. I didn't know. I was stretched real thin.
Yeah, it reminds me of having not enough butter for your toast.
Dang
and
straight, dude.
You just.
That's how it was, dude. How I didn't realize
that meant, dude, because people don't understand the stress of other people's lives, and they're coming to you, and you're eating just a little bit, like a sponge. Eventually, you run out of water, and if you don't reset, like that's what the word is for. It gets you reset, so you can give it more. And if you don't have the time, like if you're getting up and passing out, and then in between times, there's something for everybody else that wears you down, right? And so while all that's going on, because you didn't have enough on your plate, you were also going for your master's, and it was world something.
I'm at Wheaton College. I'm studying leadership and evangelism.
Right, but from a worldwide perspective, for a guy who doesn't have vision,
Listen, the reason I'm going for my master's is because, so I come to Flint, Michigan to serve, to be a pastor. And here's what I learned real quick. All my education, my undergrad at Moody Bible Institute, which is a good college, okay? I'm not trying to trash on Moody. It was a good for my soul to be at Moody. But Moody, every conference I go to, the books I buy and read, it's designed for suburban ministry.
Yeah.
It's what it is, because that's where you go to a Clarkston, you go to a Troy, you build a big old church, get young families to come who have money to give that money, you have more staff. Like, all the church literature assumes you're in that context.
Yeah, and you're definitely not on the east side.
Dude, no one writes books for how do you do ministry in a dying city?
Yeah.
How do you do ministry in a place that doesn't give a crap about God or Jesus?
And has nothing.
And they have no resources.
Nothing. Right.
Like,
and then those are the people you're going to help. I've actually had people, my favorite statement so far is, why would you help those people? That's my most favorite.
Come on.
That's my most favorite one. And I'm like, you know how you blink at someone because you don't know, like you're processing? You're like, so that just came out of your mouth. So those people. I'm like, oh, those. So I must be one of those. Oh, so I'm, and I remember just going, well, thanks. And I couldn't think of anything else. Like, that was the best thing. Because they have nothing. Well, you're not going to get anything. You know, like that's the point. I'm not trying to get something. I'm trying to help them get something. They need God and these things. Like, that's where you're coming from. That's why I love your heart. That's why I have you on the show. So you're going to school, and you're right. The suburban, middle class,
it's what it's geared toward. And I'm like, I'm out here, and everything I've seen doesn't work here. Like all the models, all the toys, like no one cares about fog machines here. If you come into Flint
with a fog machine,
I'm just saying,
they would just take it.
Listen, you come into Flint with $100,000, 2 staff members, and an awesome plan to attract seekers, to attract people. There's no one to all attractional ministry. All attractional ministry does. Oh, I'm going to say some things.
It's good.
All these, like going to a town, having a great band in a good, cool building, all you're doing is stealing Christians from smaller churches. That's how they grow.
Yeah.
Like all these churches that grew from 50 to 1,000 in 2 years.
Yeah.
That wasn't through gospel proclamation and people being saved from their sin. Right. That was some, suit-wearing Baptists is that an old church is all boring and crappy. They have old Aunt Susie on the piano.
Yep.
And there's a cool band on the street. So I abandon Aunt Susie and I go to the cool band.
Yep.
Bring a cool band to Flint, and no one gives a rip.
Right.
No one's going to come and leave their church because no churches anyway.
Right.
You're not stealing anybody because there's no one to steal.
Right.
If you bring 100 G's to Flint and try to create an attractional model, no one's coming and no one cares. Yeah. The only way to do work in this city is you got to go out there on those streets and meet people one at a time.
Where they're at.
You got to go to them because they ain't coming to you.
Right.
They don't give a crap.
They're so used to people coming in and getting their pictures and saying thanks and taking off.
And they leave.
And they're like, that's why they're just like, give me whatever you got.
And people are trained to that.
Yeah,
I'll come. I'll smile for your picture. Yeah. I'll take your free food because I know in 2 years you're outskis.
Yeah, I know. In 2 days you're going to be gone, right? You come in and how many times you've done something? They're like, oh, what's this? They're just walking by,
dude.
Right? So like my buddy Jeremy, he runs the band End of I,
okay,
and he does Christian concerts, free concerts all the time. I cannot believe you're not hooked up with this guy. You're absolutely going to love this dude. He's coming up with a free concert here in May, like very beginning. I'm going to get it to your people.
Dude, we're hosting that concert.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You're such a butthole.
It's at our building, dude.
You're an idiot. Is that true?
That's true.
I want to throw this at you.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to punch you after the show.
Listen.
Because you let me walk into that.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yes, you did. You're such a butt.
I'm like, this sounds familiar. I don't know why.
But I don't have a vision, but I planned out to the end of the summer.
Listen, one of my guys loves music, and he said, I have a buddy who wants to do country. I'm like, go ahead, dude.
Well, him and I wrote like 6 songs for him.
Come on.
And we're going to be doing a song together for our show. and he just hasn't had time to get there because, like you,
We run, dude.
But yeah, I love that guy's spirit. He's just full of energy, a lot of positive, same as you. I love that. That's
awesome.
At your place. I will probably be there for that one.
Look, we're literally like this week building the sound booth, preparing for that show.
Yeah, I remember just seeing just about 50 posts on it just last week about that, and trying to get people to understand the difference between, like, when people think of how churches is, what you're saying is like that entertainment thing that churches get does not work in Flint because they're doing it for the reason of getting something back, and you guys are literally doing it for the reason of helping the people. Nothing in return.
Nothing in return. Again, I'm not saying fog machines and good band. Doing things well is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a thought, if you do things awesome, I once heard, I won't even say his name because I don't want to just be a jerk to this guy. Mm-hmm. I want to be a jerk. But
don't be a jerk.
Okay.
No jerk.
But I was at a conference and this guy said, if you do what I'm telling you to do, if you follow these 3 principles, I guarantee your church will grow. That's an arrogance that is hard to be around. And I'm like, you think the methodology is what grows a church? I think it's Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a difference in those two philosophies.
I don't know where you get that from. It's crazy.
Listen,
it's the methodology, and I mean it's helpful. But
so I came to Flint and realized that my
Did you say anything to that guy?
Dude, it was like 100 people. There's like literally 3,000 people.
Has that ever stopped you from anything?
Listen,
I can see you going up.
I was a young guy, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay. I was so young, I actually almost believed the guy. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, man, I think that guy's wrong. I think that guy, he thinks he thinks people are sheep, and therefore just follow him as he I don't know. Anyways. I realize it's Flint.
Look at your face. It's beautiful.
Listen. I don't want to
keep smiling.
I'm trying not to be a jerk. Okay?
You're not. You're doing a great job.
I realize in Flint, there's a lot I don't know.
Yeah.
And I kept on running into limitations in my own knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm even trying to find good books. I don't even know what. There's a point in your life where you realize I don't know what I don't know. And I don't know where to find it.
Right.
That's a hard thing. I don't even know where to find it.
Right.
And
like,
so
where do you find a book on raising a church in an area that has nothing? I mean, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're doing.
I would just go up to the speakers at conferences and say, listen, do you know when writing articles or writing books or a blog on ministering in America's dying cities? And they'd stare at me and just go, nah, man. And I'm like, thanks. This is really helpful.
Before we keep going, we got to go to our next break. Please check in the Spiritual Warfare Unit, like, share, and subscribe. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Aaron with UCAN. We're out here at our 3rd annual golf outing here in the Genesee Valley Meadows. So, really good day. We have a great number of teams, great sponsorship, great people. We're hoping for a great time. The weather's good. So, we appreciate all the support we get at all of our events. It helps us fight the fight that we fight. So, thank you all. Stay the course.
A lot of fun with a good cause. This is a very good cause, and I enjoy doing it. And I have my sons with me today, and we're just going to have fun. We know we're not going to win, but we're going to have fun.
Oh, today is an awesome day today. This is our 4th or 5th one here, and can't thank UCAN enough for what they do, especially on this situation where they have this outing. Mark and Debbie and all of them. It's just an amazing outing, and I couldn't think of it brings back memories, but it's a wonderful thing, and we really appreciate it.
All right, welcome back to UCAN Studios. This is the Warrior's Way, and our warrior this week is Ernesto from Flint City Church, and we were just talking about some of the struggles that people don't understand and why it's almost funny that they get their models and like, well, it should work, so you're doing something wrong, instead of maybe the environment is just a little bit different, right?
I'm saying.
Because you're dealing with, like, say, shop people, that stuff, and here you're dealing with grocery store. You're dealing with Walmart. And it's different, and so the income difference is going to create a whole different outcome of that, right?
It's unreal, and so I came to a place where I'm like, I felt very ill prepared a lot of the time.
So what'd you do?
So I for a while I'm like, Lord, there's a prayer of Solomon. He becomes king, and Solomon prays to the Lord. He's like, I am a child on my father's throne. I don't know how to come in. I don't know how to go out. He's like, who can lead your people? And that was my heart for a long time. Like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be faithful, but I really feel like I don't know what to do. And so I saw a tweet one day, on Twitter. I saw this tweet, and this guy said, we have this new leadership cohort at Wheaton College. It's a hybrid, so it's like you don't got to be at school you do your work at home, you come for a week, you go back home to your projects. So reading, week on campus, home for projects. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I could do a week a semester.
Yeah.
And so I get to the tweet and I applied. They're like, listen, applications are due in a week. So I'm like, so I just rush through, turn it in.
That works for you, though.
And I'm like, is there any financial help? And they're like, we do have financial help. Because I'm like, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like 30 G's to go to Mastrio to go to Wheaton.
Yeah.
And so there's a thing called the Billy Graham Scholarship.
No kidding.
And it's for internationals who are leading evangelistic efforts across the world. And it's for Christian workers in dying cities.
No kidding.
So I'm like, so I apply to that bad boy.
Yeah.
And they made me prove, do you live in the city limits?
Yeah.
Like, what's your vision for the city? It's not even a scholarship. It's like a loan repayment. So basically, every year I'm in Flint after I graduate, they forgive some of my loan. So if I stay in Flint for 4 more years, I go to college for free as a Billy Graham scholar.
But you still have to do the work
But so I go to college. I get accepted for the Billy Graham scholarship, which was of the Lord. Like I told you, if I don't get approved for the scholarship, I can't go.
Right.
They call me and say, you've been approved. Like because of the work of Billy Graham, I'm going to college for free.
Right.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Billy G's my boy. Billy Graham gave me a church van and gave me college education. So
Nothing
Billy
wrong
Graham's
with
my
that.
boy, dude. And then I started going, and dude, I applied to college and I get a letter back from them. So I'm approved as a scholar, but then I'm not approved to go to school. They said my undergrad was so poor. Like, I was such a bad student. I was below their minimum standard to be a student at Wheaton College.
No kidding.
Because I was a mess in undergrad. I failed a semester. I failed the whole semester. I failed 18 credits in one semester.
Oh.
You get 6 classes you fail.
Yeah.
All zeros.
Yeah,
that wrecks your GPA.
Yes, it does.
And so they said you can do a course that's not for credits to see if you can handle the workload of a master's level program.
Right.
So I did the course. I read these books. I did these papers. And they said, you can dance. And they let me in.
So how long was this?
I've been in this for 2 years now.
Okay.
Coming on beginning of year 3 right now.
Refresh my memory. What was the master's degree in again?
It's called Leadership and Evangelism.
Okay, so leadership and
So
evangelism.
it's leading and it's bringing the gospel out. And you choose these classes, and I chose all like inner city, cross-cultural. I'm choosing classes that are walking across cultural barriers. I'm walking across barriers every day.
Yeah.
As a Latino in Flint, there's not a lot of Latinos left in the city. It's mostly white and black. I'm walking in both these worlds.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't get a raise for getting a mat. Like I'm not going to get like, in the shop or the teacher.
Yeah, you get $6 an hour.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a raise for this degree.
It's just so you can be better at your job.
I just want to know how to do it better. I feel.
Wait a minute. So you actually got educated because you want to be better at your job, not to make more money?
That's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
I wanted to learn stuff.
I wanted to learn. Why'd you go to school? I want to learn stuff, man.
I'm saying, like, I wasn't phoning in nothing because I'm trying. Like,
you can't fake it till you make it. You gotta earn and work, right?
I'm reading books that are wrecking my life. It was incredible. It's been a glorious experience. I'm grateful for it. I've had great professors. It has been a life-changing few years at Wheaton College, and I got to walk. I didn't put the thing on, the hat. I didn't do that for my undergrad.
Oh, you're doing it for this one.
My mom is coming to Chicago, dude. She's gonna see me walk.
Do you got like entrance music or anything?
I don't know. It's not like a UFC fight. I'm not coming out to.
No, you could be like Tyson, just one note. Boom.
Dude, what was Hulk's old song? He'd come in.
I don't know.
Some man. America. Not proud to be American. It's some other. Sorry, I digress. I loved the Hulk when I was a kid.
Everybody loved the Hulkster. What are you gonna do, brother?
I cannot remember the song he came into.
I don't know.
It's some America song.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Okay.
When with his haircut.
Oh, dude.
America.
But yeah, so I'm graduating this weekend, and I have one class left in the summer.
Yeah.
But all my core are done. My core classes are done. I did my final exam. Holy cow! And dude, and so it's good, dude. I can't imagine having my evenings free because I usually do homework between 8 and 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
That's gonna be gone in like 3 months, dude.
No, might have a little chest time. It's crazy.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm like, I feel like my evenings are back.
So you did this, and you get done with the master's program, and you got the church now, right, on the east side. All right,
church on the east side.
So, as far as like what happens next, like you're obviously putting together the idea of what to do in low-income areas and when it comes to church, and you're creating this thing. What have you found that works that's like different from what they're showing you?
That's a very good question. We're trying to be a neighborhood church.
When you say that, what do you mean?
I mean, our efforts are very localized.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's bad to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't spend much money on marketing. We're not marketing. Like, I get letters sometimes at my house from churches that open and stuff, and they say, you come to our church. And they're citywide marketing campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
We walk the streets of the neighborhood.
I got what you're saying.
I have moved the grocery store I shop at.
Yeah.
I go to Kroger now on the corner of Richfield and is that Center Road.
Yeah.
Because that's the Kroger next to the church.
Right.
I drive, there's a liquor store, a drive liquor store right next to the church. And that's going to be redeemed.
That's perfect.
It's going to be, listen, it's God's redeeming. Whenever I meet someone in the city, they say, where's the church at? I'm like, oh, you know the drive liquor store, Richfield Road? I'm like, yeah. We're next to that. Like, that place is going to be the beacon.
Your GPS
I'm
beacon.
saying everyone's going to know where we're at because of the sneaky liquor store.
Yeah, just come on.
But
that's awesome.
So we're focusing on this neighborhood. We walk those streets. We know those neighbors. I had kids come out one day and steal our basketball hoop out of the back of the church. And they roll at their neighborhood, and they were, slam dunking. They broke the thing to crap.
Right.
I went and found the thing and threw it away because they destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But when those kids walk by, I still say hi to them and I invite them in. And one of those kids started coming to church.
No kidding.
And like I'm saying, so in Flint, I think the only thing that's going to work, it's not going to be your band or your stage or your lights or even how good of a speaker you are.
Yeah.
I think you got to be in here for the long haul.
You know what I'm interpreting what you're saying, and you correct me if this isn't right. I just want to make sure I have this right. Is in the old days, there was a church on every corner, right? And people just went to the church that they were closest to.
Yes.
That's what you're doing. You're resetting what it was, because the big churches, they're not going out to get these people. They're like, well, you got left behind, so
Listen.
I'm sorry about your life choices, right?
Right. Like,
Did I have that right?
yeah, in the suburban world, we all are very mobile. We have cars, so we can drive 20 minutes to church we want to go to.
Yeah.
Well, in our neighborhood, a lot of our people are not
Bussers.
mobile.
Yeah.
We are next to a bus stop.
Yep.
We have a lot of walkers on Sunday.
Right.
Our van, we run a van. Our van is full every week.
So you literally could leave your church on a Tuesday, and you could be walking down the street. Hey, Jan. Hey, Dave. When's the last time you've seen that?
Dude,
Right?
I drive around the neighborhood, and I'm always beeping at people, waving.
Yeah.
I want to be known. And listen, it's just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We've only had the building for a year. Winter, you don't see anybody. Winter, everyone just
Well, yeah, 'cause it's cold.
It's awful. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but it's not good for meeting people.
You just need a church bus then, right?
And so, as the summer comes, we'll be doing these big picnics outside.
Okay.
We just got Lamech just gave us some more property in the back of our church, so we can take some trees down, have some grass.
Okay.
Invite so green space,
Yeah,
safe stuff for kids, free like picnics and food.
Hey, do you guys have a calendar? Like an event calendar or anything?
We have an event calendar on our website. Yes.
All right. If you have your people, get with my people. If I have you get with my guys, we'll get that up. And
Okay.
we'll put that out.
I'll give you our 3 big Summerfest dates that we have
Yeah.
coming up. We have one in June, July, and August that are, but again,
Great.
for most, these are more neighborhood realities. We invite,
No, I love it.
We did a trunk or treat for Halloween,
Yeah, I remember.
and we didn't push it to the city.
Yeah.
We walked the neighborhood and told all the kids we saw out biking, we're having trick or treat over here.
Yeah.
You want to come?
Yeah.
Now, I was ready for like 100, 150 kids to show up, right?
Yeah. Whoops.
I'm stupid. We had like 450 kids show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wrecked the property. It wrecked the place.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But again, our efforts are now people come from all over the city. That's okay.
Yeah.
But we don't market out there.
Yeah.
We
I don't think
really-
you have to, man.
We really focus our attention on
Yeah.
this like square mile. Like
Because see, I'm a Stewart and DuPont kid. Right? Great area.
that's the north side, baby. Right?
Great area.
Yeah.
Very run up, very not run down at all.
Dude,
It's rough, right?
there's a lot of empty neighborhoods. Look, there's
There's a lot of
blocks.
empty. There's just a lot of empty nothing.
There's blocks
Oh, that place
that are just empty.
Dude, when Buick City went out. Anyways, we got to go to our next break. Dang it. And, the first time spiritual warfare unit. Please like, share, subscribe. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
I'm really impressed with the teachings that Isaac has been bringing to us, as this is all based from Proverbs.
I like it because it's simple, and it doesn't matter who you are. It's very easy to understand and apply to your life.
You know, it points out, you know, my bad parts, and, you know, but it's showing me how to do the good parts. And, you know, I'm trying to apply that and, you know, make a better life for myself because I'm tired of where I've been.
It's impacted a lot of the guys as they continue to talk and ask questions after the meetings, as they speak to one another regarding the meeting and the messages and the topics that are being brought up, which are down-to-earth topics of situations and things that we live with on a day-to-day basis.
He takes the Bible and he breaks it down into simple terms and where you can understand. And like I said before, sometimes a lot of churches, even the Salvation Army, sometimes we start using these big words that people don't understand, like even saying someone got saved. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean when you say someone got saved? And it's accepting Jesus into your heart. So it's like words like that we use that people don't understand.
It's just very interesting how he points out, you know, the different things of, you know, the sin part, and then he comes back with the, you know, how to make it better, and he just points it out. It's there. You know, I didn't know all this stuff was in there, but now that he's pointing it out, it's like, wow, you know, I guess if you really dig into the Bible, you find these things.
This is a daily moral standards that we can live by, that the teachings are coming from. And honestly, we can take verse by verse as what he's done, and pretty much he's done the hard work for us and now laying it out so that we have an easier understanding.
There's some people who don't like to be in Bible classes, but this one seems to get their attention.
Welcome back. I'm here with Chad. He's here with our drug dog, Hans, and he's been a big hit at the Depson Dogs. Tell everybody a little bit about Hans for us.
Hans is the man. Hans loves to find drugs. We take Hans and we search different rehab facilities, schools. We actually got Hans to serve the public, so anybody in the public sector that wants any type of search. If you send a kid to rehab and you want your house swept before you come home, feel free to give us a call. Schools, they're a great deterrent as well.
I'm here with the regional chaplain down Genesee County. Kenny is here. They do great work inside the jail. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs that you guys have inside the jail?
Yeah, we have an opportunity that the sheriff allows us to come into the jail as guests to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with each one of the inmates that want to hear that. We have programs within inside the jail that we have Bible studies, we have people that come in and do one-on-ones as the inmates request it, but all of that's an opportunity to give them a choice at a different life than with the choices that they've been made to get here.
Outstanding, and they're one of our partners in the community to help people who are one of the people that help win, help us, help you, help those people around. I'm here with AJ. He's one of the committee members from Back to the Bricks. How do you think it's going today, bud?
Good. Yeah, I mean, everybody's here, everybody seems happy, and we're doing it up in Flint just right.
Yeah, it's been a really good time. We're right by the jail, hanging out with some very cool cars. And right to our left is their son was a deputy who had passed away. And so what they do is they have his car come out and they show it off at the different shows. We're sitting down here with UCAN and Reach the Forgotten, Spiritual Warfare Unit, and Deps and Dogs, and Back to the Bricks, of course, with the cars, because you guys are the cool kids.
We try.
You do it good. All right, we'll be around. All right, welcome back to the Warriors Way. Our warrior this week is Ernesto from Flint City Church, flintcitychurch.com, and we were just getting into the passion of the direction that we're going and how to do that, and I love how you're getting back to the basics of how churches were, and you kind of got to do that because just because people have the ability with cars and phones doesn't mean that in a lower income area that everyone has that stuff, and I think you going back to that, you creating that home. Because in the old days, like in my brain, I think of Little House on the Prairie, and the church was the center, and everybody came, and that was the social functions, and grandma's casserole, and all that, right? You're doing that. You're just doing that.
Flint used to, and you see this, if you're ever around the city, we used to have neighborhood schools, one in every neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So kids didn't bus, you'd walk to school. Now, because the city is emptied out, there's abandoned school buildings in every neighborhood. It's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
But for us, we really want to be, people do come from the city. It's okay. They're not mad that people come. Mm-hmm. People come from Burton. People come from, Mountain Morris. We let them come. But we're not trying to draw those people. We're not advertising. We're not marketing. Our activity, our efforts are actively aimed at the neighborhood we're a part of, because a lot of our people, dude, some of the kids in our neighborhood, like the teens, a lot of them don't go to school. A lot of them drop out 9th, 10th grade. A lot.
What's the reason? Do they tell you?
Man,
just violence.
If you have no parents, if you have no one pushing you, what I'm saying? If you don't have a support structure leading you to school, and the schools in Flint, listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk. They're not great.
Right.
I've taught at them. I've subbed at Lincoln Southwestern for a while. Mm-hmm. It's like most of the Flint kids who can get out of the city have gotten out of the city. Right. They're going to Genesee. They're going to Kersley. They're going to Carmen Ainsworth. They're getting out of Flint schools.
Yeah.
And so the kids that are left, the schools are a war zone, dude. It's a lot. When I subbed one day, I had a kid have his knee caved in the middle of class.
Had his knee caved in the middle of class.
Straight up. It was wild.
Wow.
Dude. But anyways, these kids, they're not driving somewhere. They live in a neighborhood. They walk the streets every day. It's like their version of mall rats is to walk in the streets. And sometimes they know they can come on Thursday to have lunch at the church, and they come. We have pizza together, talk about life, and they share some. One guy last week, he was like, "I'm like, how's your week?" He's like, "Man, we had a guy staying with us, and we found him dead yesterday. He OD'd."
He had an OD in his house.
And his kid's 17 years old.
And he's saying it like you got a
cheese
sandwich.
I go, how you doing? He goes, I'm doing all right. He didn't connect. I was asking him, how are you doing?
Processing the OD.
The OD that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He just thought about, I'm doing all right, I'm just walking around.
That's a Tuesday.
It just.
Wow.
And I'm saying, so I want the people of our neighborhood that are right in our vicinity, even if they don't come to our church, I want them to know that if the world falls down, they can.
Yeah.
They know whatever's going on. There is a work down the street from me, and those guys are here. They ain't going nowhere.
They're fighting for us.
And the love of God flows from them freely.
Yeah.
And so we are very much trying to be kind of a parish model church because that's why, as a church, I'm not sad when new churches open. Like I had a buddy of mine open a church on the north side, and I called him up before I don't know him well, but I saw his advertisement, reached out to him on Facebook, said, listen, is there anything you need? You need any technology? We're praying for you. We're cheering for you because a new church coming to Flint is not a competitor or is not a danger to me. If I was a coffee shop owner and a coffee shop owner came to Flint, I'd be like, you're taking my business.
Hold on. So you're telling me that churches would look at other churches as competition because they're in the same area?
Dude, they're brutal about this.
Really? Church people are brutal about their churches.
They're territorial. This is. I left a church once, and the guy said to me, he said, whatever you do next, I want you 30 miles away from this work. This is our area. Churches say this crap.
Flag.
This is our area. You can't franchise in my area.
You just throw down a gangster and listen, this is Grand Blanc.
This is right. I run the numbers for Grand Blanc.
I got my runners.
I learned from those guys, from that generation, I learned I'm not going to be like these guys.
You know what's funny? You know where my mind goes with that? Like, I've actually done this.
What?
It was like, well, what happens if I don't? Like, you're going to be mad? Or, like, what happens then?
You're going to break my legs?
Like, what's then? And what happens if I'm not afraid? Then what? You know, and watching people's faces contort because they've said something and then you have to do what they say because you say so. And I'm like, I don't think I gotta do any of those things. Am I nuts for that? Or?
Dude, no. If one of my disciples came to me and said to me, Ernesto, you've been working with me for these years, and I feel called to go to a neighborhood, 3 neighborhoods away, and plant a church.
I'm going to go to Iowa Street.
First, I'm going to be sad because I love the guy. I want to work with him.
And then you want to know what you can do to help him.
Exactly.
Right, because
I don't own you.
Right.
I don't own these people. I don't own this city.
That's right. And if something happens and you get bigger than me, how is that a downside?
It's not a downside. If I get a disciple, if I get to invest in someone.
Thank you.
And what they touch, God blesses and it blows up.
Isn't that like connected?
Praise the Lord.
Isn't that eternal glory somewhere? I read this book somewhere.
Listen, I was at a conference and this pastor goes, how many of you want to see revival in your cities? And everyone's like, oh, revival.
Right, amen.
And then the guy goes, now what if the revival came to your city and it wasn't through your church? How would you feel then?
Silence.
And people were quiet.
Oh, silence.
And that hurt me.
That's wisdom.
I don't want my party to be the big party. I want the Lord's name to be glorified.
Yeah.
Flint City does not need to be the banner flying. The cross is the banner flying.
Right.
And any role that we can play in that is awesome.
Yeah. Any area, any unit I get to be in that helps those people get there, because like just working with the community over the last 10 years that I've been doing it and getting out there, and that chuck and jive that comes in because we're doing a get together, and oh hey, and oh yeah, we're part of this. Let me get my cotton candy and my hot dog and my backpack, and oh okay, great, we'll see you. They're playing that role so they can get the picture, so they can say we did something, and nothing actually happened. There was no change of hearts. There was no. You're not going to see that person on Sunday. You're not going to invest in that person. You just gave them something. You feel good. They got something. They feel good, and that's the end of the exchange. That's not a win. That's not a win. You know what I mean? And that's where it's like when I'm working with people, I want to say this is the choices that produce this outcome. This is why these choices happen. Let me show you why the Bible works. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And your heart and passion is for that, because I'm not here. I'm not living in Flint, so I can say I do these things. I live in Flint because I'm passionate about the city. You know,
I love
mean?
it here. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
If someone calls me tomorrow, offers a job, I'm not leaving. Right. It might pay more. Might give me a better house.
Well, for your master's degree.
They asked me to come back for my doctorate, and I'm like, I don't need to be Dr. Alaniz. Okay, I'm all good. I'm all good.
Well, but now you have to start saying Wheaton with the H. Wheaton.
Yeah.
Now it's your master.
Wheaton College.
Yeah.
No, and listen, There are a lot of great churches in the city, and I'm so glad they're
There's a
here.
ton of them.
And there's a lot of churches in the city that are quiet witnesses. They're not, no one knows they're doing that faithful work. They're small churches of 30, 40 people doing great. I thank God for them. Because those 34 people, they're loving them. They have a support network structure. For a while, we think that if a church isn't Saddleback or Willow Creek or Elevation, they're not doing God's work. And I know these preachers say things like, I'm going to start a movement. God's going to be a bigger platform. Who gives a crap about a movement or a platform? We have a movement. It's the cross of Christ. It doesn't need to be co-branded with your awesome haircut. Like, stop.
And a 3-point bulletin outline.
I
feel that.
There's a guy. I think his name is Count de Dusseldorf. Some German dude.
Is that for real?
That's a for real name.
Oh my God, that sounds like a marshmallow cereal.
Let's listen. But this guy said this. He said,
say his name one more time.
I think it's Count Dusseldorf. I might be a little off.
I'm going to be Googling.
Listen, but he said, man, I'm a little off. I know I am. He said, preach the gospel, die, be forgotten. That's all I want to do. I want to be faithful to my generation. I want to lay down my body and go home and have invested enough of my life in others where the work keeps going forward for the Lord.
Right.
It's not Flint City. It's not me. It's the Lord, His glory for this place.
Right. Like, you don't have to have a side. We're all under the umbrella of the cross, and the rest of it's kind of academic. And each area, the suburban area church, has to have its way of doing things.
Yes.
But so does the inner city.
Right.
And I think that's the part that you're keen on that was a miss. That's all.
I'm trying to find out what is that way, because there's no one's there to tell me. Like,
we're actually inventing this, which
dude,
is cool.
I'm telling you, I feel like I'm flying a plane. I'm building a plane in the air. Like it's a horrifying thing. But we haven't figured it out yet. We're still a mess. But
Sorry, that mental picture was screwing with me.
Dude, it's coming along, and I'm grateful to be part of it. I'm grateful that God's starting to use it, and it's exciting to be part of it. I'm really grateful for it.
Well, you have been a blessing. Your heart for the people has been, because we don't get a lot of time together, but the people that we relate to know each other really well, and so I get these stories from you all the time, and I wanted to end with something because I like your reasoning for this, and I kind of want to end with this. It's just you being you. But tell people again, in case they didn't see the first one, why it is that you preach without any shoes on.
Listen.
Because this is unique to you, and I love it. I love it. So just, we only got a couple minutes, but I want you to tell them one more time, because this is a really cool thing.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's this moment where Moses, the man, meets the Lord, and the Lord says, take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. And when I first started preaching, I said, I have a terrible stutter. I have a terrible speech impediment. And the Lord, if I get
would never know.
If I get talking too fast, I'll get stuck on a syllable like a machine gun. And my brother gives me crap about it.
Of course he does.
But so when I go to preach, I'm like, Lord, if you don't help me do this thing, it's gonna burn.
Yeah.
And so early in ministry, I took my shoes off. So I'm like, Lord, I just need you to bathe this thing in light and let it go, because I don't know how to do this.
So you do it because you're on holy ground.
On holy ground, baby.
And
in the winter, I don't do it because it's cold, man. But the spring's coming, and dude, it's already. I was at the Forgotten Man banquet here, and I was barefoot, and I was in my sandals, just chilling. And it's almost time. It's almost time. But no, I've been preaching now for 20 years. I still don't know how to do it. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do this, how to proclaim God's word. But I think if there was one word to describe my place in life right now, I'm 42 years old, and I'm just very grateful.
Well, buddy, that's why we have you, and I'm looking forward to having you back. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. I look forward to being a partner with you here in the future. Well, that's all we got for this show. So this is your last chance to like, share, and subscribe. Please help us, help others, help you. You guys have a great time, and we will see you next time. Do you have a nonprofit in your area that's doing a lot of work that people should know about? feel free to contact Spiritual Warfare Unit at 810-715-9319, and we would love to have them on to see what good they're doing in the community and find out their story. Thank you so much.
Spent so much time believing the lies. I knew I wasn't meant to live this way. But my walls came down when your love shone through. Now my life will never be the same. You love me too much to let me stay this way.